word from Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn your TV into a gaming system by pairing up your controller and entertainment hub on the Fire TV Stick 4K devices. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to dive into hundreds of premium titles. Just like College Football 25 or Call of Duty. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass, Ultimate subscription, and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. So, Bull, during the show, we got some very interesting news here from our friend Zach Mizell. Steve, you want to take tag board?
Zach Mizell.
You call him Zach Mizell?
That's another one I always go backwards. Zach Mizell,
he's giving you
Zach
shit
Mizell.
about pronouncing names?
Man.
It is. It's not my strong
Oh, my God.
But in all honesty, and this is real updated news.
Oh, I hadn't even seen this because I haven't looked at my phone.
That's what I'm saying. It came out during the show. This because the Guardians have their getaway game today against the Yankees. They play at 1:10 his first pitch. Zach tweeted, when asked Tuesday night if Emmanuel Clase was healthy, Stephen Vogt said yes, but that the club wanted to give him a second straight day off. Today, meaning earlier this morning, Vogt revealed Clase had shoulder discomfort after his outing on Sunday. He played catch today. His availability is TBD. Cade Smith got the save for Cleveland last night. As shown in the tweet, Stephen Vogt said they wanted to give him an extra day off. He has obviously struggled. We talked about that at length. Who knows whether it was a day off, wanting to give Cade an opportunity. Who knows? Who cares? The result was a perfect save for Cade Smith.
4 pitches.
Last night. Yeah, almost an immaculate inning.
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
How much are you looking into the decision to go with Cade over Clase last night before you had this extra information, and does it change now knowing the fact that he may be hurt?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in what Stephen Vogt said. First of all, the Guardians, under Stephen Vogt, they were always this way, but they've taken it to another level under Stephen Vogt. They are extremely cagey when it comes to divulging information about injuries. This is weird. If he has shoulder discomfort, there's no way he should even be he should be on the IL already. So if they're being honest about his shoulder discomfort, I would expect him at some point in the next day or two to go on the IL. Maybe they just want to rest him for a couple of days because he did throw 30-something pitches on Sunday. Maybe they think if they give him a few days rest, it might be very minor, and they're like, okay, we'll give him a couple of days rest. Maybe they're going to give him an MRI and take a look and not. But they're so cagey about it. But if he has any shoulder discomfort at all, I'm 100% putting him on IR. I'm not messing around with that. When I first saw Cade Smith warming up last night, my first reaction was, okay, well, they're at least temporarily taking Clase out of the closer role. He struggled. He pitched poor. He actually pitched well Friday and Saturday, but then he was terrible against the Pirates on Sunday. He has given up 3 or more hits in 5 appearances this season. He did that 0 times last year. Think about that. 0 times in the regular season last year. This year he's already done it 5 times in less than a month. So I thought maybe they were taking him out of the role. I would have stuck with him if he's healthy in the closer role a little longer. But then after the game they said, okay, well, they were going to hold him out for 2 games. Now somebody said that Tom Hamilton had mentioned it during the broadcast. I need to clarify that Hammy said that, because I hadn't heard anything before the game that Clase wasn't available. The interesting thing is, Cade Smith, I don't think going to be available tonight. I don't know if he talked about that. I'll have to text Zach later and not call him Mizell.
It's a little inside joke me and Zach have.
Yeah.
We were texting this morning, actually, about that. I found the clip, if you guys want to hear it. We made our bold predictions this year. Steve, this was my bold prediction before the season. All right, so you guys went with your bold predictions. I need to pull up my number real quick to make sure I say this right, because I'm going extra spicy to the 10th degree here. Last year, Emmanuel Clase led the Major League Baseball in saves. Had 47 saves last season. I don't think he leads the Guardian saves this year. I think Cade Smith does.
insane prediction by you.
The geniuses are the real ball knowers, and in our group chat with me, my great friend Zach Mizell, and you, me and Zach, real ball knowers, you, Chump City.
Well, how you said I laughed at you. I wasn't even on the panel that day.
I heard you laughing from Rocky River. I swear I could hear it chiming.
That is an insane prediction that could turn out to be correct. There was no reason to believe. Did you think he was going to get hurt, or did you think because he pitched like crap in the playoffs, it was going to carry over?
The clip's longer. I can show you the full.
Yeah.
I said I don't really have an exact reason as to why. I think the struggles, injuries, there were the trade rumors. I just think Cade Smith's that good. So.
Now, I still believe, as good as Cade Smith is, and he's fantastic, that if Emmanuel Clase is not hurt or not seriously hurt, I still think he's going to end up with more saves this year than Cade Smith. But if this shoulder discomfort turns into anything serious, then you're going to be right. Cade Smith is probably going to be the closer. Now, they could consider going with Paul Sewald because he has experience in that role, so they could still use Cade Smith in the 7th and 8th innings. However, Sewald hasn't pitched great either, so they might want to go with Cade Smith because he and Gaddis have been their two best relief pitchers this year. It'll be interesting to see who closes tonight because Cade Smith, obviously I'd be shocked if Clase pitches. After hearing those comments from Vogt, I'd be shocked if he pitches tonight. Mm-hmm. And Cade Smith, I believe, has pitched 4 of the last 5 days, so they're not going to use him tonight. You want to sweep the Yankees. I don't think
game balls. Let's say this afternoon. Let's say today. It's not really tonight.
That's true. Game's starting in 45 minutes.
Thank you.
Again, Kyle Manzardo. How do we not have Kyle Man? I don't want to kill Vogt.
You guys are going to I can't go to each other's throats.
No, I love it.
I love ball.
Kyle Manzardo. I don't know why he's not in the lineup, but all right. I mean, he's got the mustache too. This thing is.
That was my prediction.
He's got it. Austin Wells of the Yankees. Go ahead.
My bold prediction was on Kyle Manzardo. I had him for 20 home runs and 80 RBIs.
Well, he's going to hit 20 home runs.
It don't look that bold now.
He's got 7 already.
Right now. Yeah. So here's my casual, and I love your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I would want to know how long he's been experiencing this shoulder discomfort, for one, because to me, since the beginning of the season, he's looked like a shell of himself. I always go back to whenever he blew that save at the end of last year, he went home, got on social media, posted all his accolades. For whatever reason, for me personally, ever since I've seen him do that, I've been kind of on the fence about Emmanuel Clase, because to me, it said a lot about his character, and it said a lot about like his just ability to bounce back from tough situations. And it seems like all that carried over into this year. So it's hard for me to look at, a couple games and he might be having shoulder discomfort when I didn't see him pitch on numerous occasions this year and he hasn't really looked that great. And when you got a guy like Cade Smith that showed it last year and showing it early this year, listen, this is the AL Central, and the Guardians, they do enough just to always be in the thick of things. I can't have a closer just because his name is Emmanuel Clase, like muck that up for me if I got the opportunity to make some noise.
All right, here's the thing, though. I mean, the guy's been the best closer in baseball the last 3 years, so I can't write him off after a couple bad weeks. I do agree with you. I hated the social media stuff last year. He came off as very insecure last year, and that has translated to this year. The reason I don't think it has anything to do with the shoulder injury, though, is because when you have an injury, a shoulder injury that affects your pitching, it usually shows itself in terms of velocity. Like your velocity is going to be down. His velocity hasn't been down at all. And before Sunday, he had pitched, and he had like his 2 best performances on Friday or Saturday. I think you let him work out of it. Now, if it's a shoulder injury, my guess is this is just as cropped up here. Maybe because he pitched 3 days in a row. Maybe because on that 3rd day they threw him 30-something pitches, which I thought was insane. Mm-hmm. I would have pulled him out of that game, but they didn't. I thought that was a bad job by Vogt the way he handled it. In fact, I wouldn't have pitched Clase at all on that Sunday because he had a 3-run lead against a Pirate team that's got one of the worst lineups in the league. I would have set it up to have somebody else close that day. But all right, it is what it is. So, but I'm not going to give him a pass of the shoulder injury for why he hasn't pitched well. Emmanuel Clase's problem right now is players are swinging at the early in the count. So he's not able to get to 2 strikes on enough guys. And he actually, we want pitchers to have good command. The problem with Emmanuel Clase is every pitch he throws is in the strike zone. Everything. His command's too good. He needs to throw balls in the dirt sometimes. He never does. Everything's right down the middle. And I don't care how hard you throw, how nasty your stuff is. If everything you throw is in the middle of the plate, big league hitters are going to hit you. And that's what's happening.
This sounds crazy, but is that something that he can work on in bullpen sessions and things like that? Like somebody can get with him and say, you know what? You need to start framing your pitchers here, here, and here. Anything outside of the strike zone, and just start getting those reps doing that.
He has changed. He has worked on it. He's changed his pitch mix a little bit. Then he went back to what he was doing more last year on Friday. I don't know. Yes, the answer is yes. It can be worked on. Maybe they're better. I think. This is just reading between the lines. I could be totally wrong here. My speculation is that he is struggling physically and mentally right now, and he's lost some of his confidence. And maybe there's a little something in the shoulder. They'll use that as an excuse to give him a breather for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. They've got a good pen, right? And maybe they put him on the IL for 15 days, and he comes back in 2 weeks, and he's fine. When he comes back, the Guardians' bullpen is best when he's closing. And I'm not going to allow a couple of weeks of bad pitching to completely take him off the radar. I get it. Folks want Cade Smith because right now he's the hot new thing, and he's been phenomenal since the Guardians started. He wasn't even going to be on the opening day roster last year originally, and he's been just incredible. Maybe the best relief pitcher in baseball since the start of last year. Even better than Clase, who got Cy Young votes last year. But I think they're better when they could use Cade Smith in different spots during the game. They like to use Cade Smith 6th, 7th, 8th inning when they're facing the other team's best lineup. Mm-hmm. But for now, I think they will let him close. My guess is, just a hunch, Clase goes on the IL today or tomorrow. Probably not today, but my guess is before Friday's game he goes on IL, and Smith will close for a bit, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. But I think Gaddis will probably close tonight. I would use him to close
today,
this afternoon.
I trust your expertise on that. You know, if you feel like the Guardians are better with Clase, again, you're the best ball guy. I trust that. But I also trust Stephen Vogt based off something I seen last year. Emmanuel Clase has name recognition, and sometimes as fans, when we got a guy that we're familiar with that has success and has name recognition, we want to give them more leash of that rope.
Yeah.
But you should. Yeah. But last year I seen Stephen Vogt as a rookie manager.
Yeah.
Tristan McKenzie, a guy with name recognition, wasn't getting it done, and he made a swift move. So I have confidence that if Clase goes on the IL, come back, and we're still going through the same stuff, I think Vogt will make the move. His last name be done.
Yeah. At some point, yes. Clase's been an all-star player.
Yeah.
McKenzie has.
And I know, but I'm just saying, like, to the fans, Tristan McKenzie is a name that you can relate to, and to see him get sent down, like, damn, that's Tristan McKenzie they sent down.
Yeah.
It shows me that Stephen Vogt has no issue doing that with nobody.
Fine, I agree. And if Clase comes back, whenever he comes back, whether it's tomorrow, today, or 2 weeks from now, if he continues to struggle, I give a longer leash to a guy who's been the best closer in baseball for the last few years. I'm not gonna throw away a couple of years of great pitching, like elite pitching, because of a couple of bad weeks. I would give him more time, but if he's injured, that's a whole nother story. Good win by the Guardians last night.
Other than the closer situation,
yeah,
they just beat the Yankees 2 times in a row. They've won the series. They've won 5 in a row now, Bull. I mean, it's early, still very early, just 25 games into the season or 23 games into the season, but Guardians are playing some pretty damn good baseball right now.
They are. They need. I know Jason on our text chain was going on a rant about how bad the Guardians lineup is. And, yeah, I've got my real concerns about the Guardians lineup. There's still issues in that lineup. There's too much punch and Judy. We need a little more power. They've lost some power with Naylor gone. And you could say, well, Manzardo's making up for it. But I would have loved to have Manzardo and Naylor instead of Manzardo and Santana.
I was laughing at those messages when I was reading them yesterday because I was reading them in Jason's voice.
I know. He was on a roll.
He gets hot about when for whatever reason, there's always the A's. That's his reference point to the Guardians.
Well, because the A's are calling up their top draft pick from last year and the Guardians haven't.
Yeah.
And, like the Guardians, in the inning they scored those runs, they got kind of lucky. There were errors and like Daniel Schneemann, who to me is not he's not a major league starter. He got an infield hit. They got some lucky plays on that. They need to be able to they need some upgrades in the lineup. Hopefully they can do it as the season goes along. But the Kyle Manzardo development has really saved them, because if he struggled, they'd be in huge trouble because he's been there. I mean, he and Jose and Quan, they've been the three guys that have been fantastic. Yeah. Nobody else has done much of anything.
Gender reveal, Quan. Shout out to him. And shout out to David Fryer. Having a baby girl.
Oh, I didn't see that. Good for both of them. Quan did a gender reveal?
He did a gender reveal for David Fryer. He came up and he put a pink wrist
I didn't even realize. How did I miss that?
Were you watching?
I watched the game. I'm gonna be honest. I watched the game on mute most of the time.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'm not going to comment on that any further. I'm just going to say I watched the game on mute.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes I put Tom Hamilton on, but you got to sync it up, and so sometimes I'm just like, I'll just watch it on mute.
I love seeing the Yankees lose, especially because I work with this guy.
Honest.
I'm too honest. You're right. I wish there was
just let it go.
I wish there was an option to watch.
Still didn't let it go.
Don't you wish there was an option to watch a sporting event with no announcers and just hear the nat sound of the game?
Dude, listen.
Yeah, the best.
The Tennis TV app.
Yeah.
I can pick the matches. It cuts out the commentary.
Isn't that great?
It's the best, dude. It is the best. First off, tennis, the sounds are great.
Yeah.
Especially like they're playing on clay right
Grunting,
now. All of it.
The sound of the ball.
All you hear is the umpire will say the score.
Right.
But that's it.
The nat sound.
Yeah, and then you actually can hear the players too because there's parabolic mics everywhere.
That would be awesome. When the other day with the Cavs game, when the announcers' mics went out and then Dennis Scott was talking, I was like, let him just sit out.
Just lay out.
Let me just hear the nats. I want to hear the squeaking of the court.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear guys talking trash a little bit.
Dude, it's the best thing. I take out the commentary all the time.
Oh, man. I wish they had that for baseball, football. Just to hear all, the sound. I'd love to hear the offensive linemen there grunting and fighting there. That would be great. Anyway, that's it, Mike. So, yes, the Guardians are playing well. I believe, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the exact year. I think if the Guardians win today, I think it would be their first sweep of the Yankees in Cleveland. I want to say since the 70s, which seems insane because the Guardians have had a lot of good teams, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, the Yankees were really good then, too. But I want to say this would be their first sweep since the 70s. You see that anywhere?
There's no way. Since the 70s?
I think so. Maybe I'm insane and I made that up. I feel like that's the case. Which doesn't make sense either because in the 70s, the Yankees were actually good in the 70s, and the Indians were terrible in the 70s, the whole decade.
The quick Google search says the Guardians, formerly the Indians, last swept the Yankees in Cleveland during the 2017 ALDS, winning the series after a 2-0 deficit.
Talking about like a regular season series?
I'll look that up. I'll have that answer by the end of the show.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Moving on, guys. We got some more Browns, some more